Welcome to the Derek Creason Show. We are live and streaming today. This is episode 18 entitled Live Streaming, and we are attempting to do the show live today versus doing it pre-recorded. So today is Saturday, March 22nd, 2025. So bear with me today as I try to do the show live versus pre-recorded. I already had it mess up once earlier, but luckily no one was watching it yet, so that's half the fun of learning this, is exploring it and getting into it. So, alright, coming up on today's show, we'll have recent life updates. I'll talk about what I've been doing lately. We'll talk about the news. We'll talk about my creative corner and show updates, and maybe some TV shows, but yeah, I might actually move TV shows to tomorrow. And now that I'm getting this all set up for live streaming, it's going to cut out a lot of the editing and production time. So hopefully I can do shows more often. And I've got some creative energies all kind of built up. And so I'm looking to do this more often, even if that means shows are 5, 10, 15 minutes long versus 30, 40 minutes long, like some of my normal episodes. So that is what is coming up on the show today. And as always, I welcome your feedback, your questions, your suggestions. Derek@derekcreason.com is the email address. It's right under my face here. You can see. Hit me up on my socials, at Derek Creason on X, Instagram, YouTube, and Rumble. You can see up above me. Check that out. You can head over to my website. Let me pull that up for you. Maybe if it's here, I'll pull it up and show it to you. Here we go. Here's my website, derekcreason.com. You can sign up for my newsletter on Substack. You can check that out, or you can go right to Substack and check it out. I'm going to be pushing more of that lately since I got it transferred over to Substack a little while ago. Check it out. Sign up for updates. Here you can see all my tweets, my Instagram stuff, all that kind of cool stuff. Go to my Substack, like I mentioned. Let's see, what else can you do? Oh yeah, you can go check out my book, 20-something. It's available on Amazon. Click it here. So it's available on paperback and Kindle. You can see it on my shelf behind me back here. Go check it out. I spent a lot of time writing it. I really like it. It's got 5-star reviews. It's only $11.99, or you can get it on Kindle as well. You can get it on Kindle Unlimited for free if you're in that program. So go check that out. It's pretty cool. I think you'll like it. It's a good book for 20-somethings. I'm going to do some more bonus episodes and probably go over some of the content and stuff on my Insiders community, which I will talk about here in just a second. All right. Let's talk about recent life updates. What have I been up to lately? So lately I have been up to hanging out with my brother a lot and doing a lot of wrestling stuff. I like professional wrestling. You probably know that about me if you know me at all. And in February, I went to Indianapolis, and me and him took a road trip, and we went and saw the Royal Rumble, which was a lot of fun to go do and see in person with 60,000 people. Just a fun time. So we had a good time doing that. And we've actually been doing a wrestling podcast since last spring, and I've been doing a lot of my creative energy output into that show, which is why I haven't done this show as much. And so you can go check that out. It's at Wrestling Brothers Breakdown on YouTube, which is pretty cool. We just put out our 20th episode. We've gotten quite a few views. It's starting to grow. We've got 20 subscribers, and some of our shorts, our total is up to 10,000 views. You can watch the video on YouTube or Spotify, or if you just like audio versions of the podcast, you can get it on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, Pocket Cast, just anywhere, all the normal big platforms where you get your podcasting sources and fun stuff. So that is some of the stuff that I have been doing. Let's see, what else have I done lately? It's spring break week. We're finishing up spring break, although a lot of my kids have the Friday off last week and the Monday off next week, which is just nuts because back in my day, that wasn't a thing. So last weekend we went up to Chicago to see Amy's brother and hang out up there for a few days. We went to the St. Patrick's Day parade in downtown Chicago, which was nuts. Like, I don't know, probably 20, 30, 40,000 people down there. It was a lot of people. It reminded me of the parades from when like the Royals won the World Series or the Chiefs won the Super Bowl. So that kind of crowd. But the parade was cool to see, and it was cool to go see the River Green and just kind of see one of the cities that's really big into St. Patrick's Day. Big excuse to go party for a lot of people, but that's part of the culture of that holiday. I don't know. But it was fun to see all the sights and stuff and get some free stuff. So that was one of the things that we did. Alrighty. Hey, do you like my show here, the podcast, the Derek Creason Show? Why don't you come join my locals community and become an insider? It's totally free. It's like a VIP backstage pass. Inside the community, you'll get exclusive content you won't hear anywhere else, including behind-the-scenes takes on things, my unfiltered takes on the latest news and pop culture, sneak peeks at upcoming projects. You'll see some bonus episodes. Here's one of the bonus episodes here. Here's some live streams that are only streaming. Sometimes I'll stream only to locals, so you can come check that out there. So come check it out. It's totally free. Become an insider, and then sometimes I'll put out some stuff for supporters if you want to go above and beyond. But there's no pressure, no sales tactics. It's just a fun way to build an awesome community for the show. It's go to the DerekCreasonShow.locals.com, become an insider today, get tons of extra free content, and let you get more into the behind the scenes and everything that goes on with the show here. Alrighty. What did I say we were going to talk about next? Oh, the news. Let's do the news. All right, the news. So, what I'm going to do with the news is just kind of go on X, formerly known as Twitter, and just scroll around in my feed and pick some stuff to talk about. And then sometimes I may just scroll live and just comment on things. And I may open up articles or videos and watch them and comment on them. And so that is how I'm going to do news. If you want to go back and look on one of my earlier episodes, episode 8, 9, 10, I don't know, I talked about how I follow a lot of different things on the news. Like I've got like a whole news tab here, and I've got probably 10 to 15 news sources that go from far left to far right and everything in between. And so I try to take in news from kind of all sources. I got a lot of independent media stuff in there as well. And so I tried to take it all in from all over and not just my own echo chamber. And so, but I'm human. I'll admit I have a bias. So we'll just talk about it and have fun with it. So some of the interesting news things I saw today while scrolling around was this. Japan unveils uranium battery to repurpose radioactive waste. Japan has developed the world's first uranium-based rechargeable battery. Using depleted uranium, a byproduct of nuclear fuel enrichment, the prototype demonstrated stable charging and discharging with a voltage of 1.3 volts. I don't know if that's good or bad amount, but the battery could potentially utilize 16,000 tons of Japan's stored depleted uranium and 1.6 million tons globally. So I thought that was kind of a cool future thing to talk about. I think it's kind of cool when positive things happen in tech and energy like that moving forward that we see in sci-fi movies and stuff. And it's not just all negative news out there. So, and I know Japan had the big nuclear reaction a while back. And so they've got probably a lot of cleanup to do still. But if we can learn to use this extra uranium stuff for positive things, then how cool would that be? So, all right, next up in the news. It was announced yesterday, George Foreman died. Like, that's a bummer. I didn't know he was even that old. It said he was 76 years old, and he was a pretty famous boxer back in the day. I think he was the oldest person to re-win the heavyweight champion, like in a comeback story. In his 40s, he re-won the heavyweight championship. He's had a lot of famous boxing matches, and he's also famous for the George Foreman grill. So, what kind of sad news to hear that. But that happened yesterday. All right, this one is about the Pentagon and the Army. Ooh, I'm in the Army. Let's play our Army intro thing. La, 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 la. right, there you go. That is the Army intro segment thing that I made, which I thought was just funny. So, all right, here is what it says. It says the Pentagon's intelligence and law enforcement arms are investigating what it says are leaks of national security information. Defense Department personnel could face polygraphs in the latest such inquiry by the Trump administration. And this is just nuts to me, because being in the DOD, I have to do annual briefs of security clearance and what you're allowed to do, what you're not allowed to do, and all the rules that go along with levels of clearance, need to know, etc., etc. And I promise you that if the normal grunts, low-level people like me, you make a mistake and you put stuff out, they will crucify you and trash your career and potentially put you in jail, depending on how sensitive and secretive the information is that you leaked. And it just baffles me that high-end leaders and politicians can get away with that, because most regular everyday soldiers would get destroyed if they leaked stuff. And so I don't have a lot of sympathy for if people get caught doing that kind of stuff, because it is a big deal, and sometimes there is a reason to have compartmentalized information and to keep things safe and secure as best we can when people are doing operations and missions. And so I take that stuff pretty seriously, because it can affect my security and my livelihood and people that I care about in the military. So what are your thoughts on that? Do you think people should get in trouble when they break those rules? How severe should the punishment be? That I don't know. It depends. It could go all the way up to treason, I guess. But it's just an interesting story. So that's kind of my thoughts on it. Just stop it. Polygraphs aren't very fun. I've done a couple of them. I've got a high level clearance, and so sometimes you get to do those. I get to recertify my clearance every so often, and that's a ton of paperwork. So always good times. All right, next up. This was somebody just commenting, and Jack Posobiec, I think he's a conservative commentator guy. I don't really follow him. And also, I just want to say, if I don't say this, just because I talk about somebody's tweet or bring it up, I don't endorse anybody necessarily. Okay, so if you hate this person or love that person or this channel or that news group, they're just news sources. Sometimes I may agree with them, sometimes I may not agree with them. And just, that's that. Anyways, he said ban the ads at Robert Kennedy Jr. I can only assume that he's talking about the pharmaceutical ads, as we are only one of 2 countries allowed in the world to get all those commercials all the time that say, talk to your doctor about side effects may include death, diarrhea, and everything under the sun that we're trying to solve. And I don't think they need to advertise it. I don't like big pharma, and there's been a lot of loss of trust over the last few years, especially since COVID, in big pharma and doctors and pharmaceutical companies and the government and how they're supposed to be supervising all that, and everybody just seems to be using each other to get rich and not take care of people. And that seems to be the overarching narrative, and I wish it gets better, and I hope that things can change. And so hopefully Robert Kennedy Jr. can start driving a lot of those changes to clean up some of that in our country. All right, let's just refresh X real quick and see if anything's going on. We'll scroll. Trump suggests U.S. could join British Commonwealth if offered by King Charles. I have no idea what that is. That's just rumors. Assassin's Creed Shadows. I haven't played many of the Assassin's Creed games. St. Louis Blues have won 5 in a row. I know hockey's probably getting close to the playoffs, if not already. I don't know. I'm not huge into hockey. I wish hockey was more popular. I like it. NCAA tournament is going on. As far as I know, Kentucky's still in it. I'll have to go check. That's who I picked to win. I pick them every year for fun. I don't know why. I did it like 2 or 3 years in a row, and then it just stuck. So I think that is going to do it for the news. So let's go talk about creative stuff. All right, creative stuff. So let's look at creative stuff. So right now I have been working on the last couple days in the evenings and stuff, working on streaming and trying to figure out how could I do my show live? And so here's a whole bunch of test streams. I tried streaming to Rumble. I tried streaming to Locals. I tried streaming to YouTube. And what were the pros and cons of that? With using my streaming software, I'm using Streamlabs. It's a version of OBS. Right now, I'm streaming on Rumble. And I think the workflow that I figured out, because when you do all this kind of stuff, it's crazy. Because before I would record the podcast in Streamlabs, but just as a local file, video file, and then I would throw it into DaVinci Resolve and then edit it up, add in the intro music, add in the cuts, cut out all the mistakes, then publish it up to YouTube, publish it to Rumble, publish it to Spotify for podcasters, which is where the podcast, and then it shoots it out to Apple, Amazon, Pocket Cast, about 10 other platforms, and that's the one that has the RSS feed that goes everywhere. And so if you live stream, you can only live stream to like one thing at a time, unless you pay for high-end software or cloud-supported software that lets you multi-stream or restream stuff to multiple sites. And since I do this for fun and not for lots of money, I can't stream to everything at once. So I can stream to one and then probably copy it and move it around. Well, you can download YouTube videos, but I can't download YouTube live stream videos, which is weird. And so what I figured out, it seems to be the best solution for now, and I'm going to test it out with this one in the next couple episodes, is I'll live stream to Rumble, and then when that's done, I can download the Rumble video, then I'll upload it to YouTube and Spotify and my locals, and then I can go do all the marketing stuff like tweet and Instagram about it, or use AI to make clips of it and throw that out on some of my short form stuff like TikTok and Instagram and YouTube Shorts. And so that is the attempted workflow process that I am going to try to do for now for this episode and the next few episodes. So and then if I can get decent at this and get decently write out the episode before I do it, and then get a little bit better at the transitions and stuff, and then not forgetting where my script is, and maybe needing more monitors or laptops in front of me so I can see all the things at once and get smoother at it. If I live stream it, then I don't have to edit it and then upload it. It cuts out a ton of the production time, because editing takes a long time if you've ever done any video editing. Another thing I'm thinking about is I'm also thinking about redoing my website. I want to add in more of my social stuff, like my locals insider community. And I've got a lot of stuff on here, but I haven't updated it in a long time. And so, but it's hard to find a good theme that doesn't cost money in WordPress, and then you can also give you the flexibility to do everything you want. And this has been pretty decent for a long time, but I want to see if I can improve it. I also liked Substack. I recently, a couple months ago, moved my newsletter from MailChimp over to Substack, and I've liked it so far. I've only put out like 3 or 4 things, but it works really well, and I like it a lot, and it wasn't too hard to integrate over here. And so half the fun is just if you can automate stuff and you publish something somewhere, make it auto-populate in 4 or 5, 6 other places, or make yourself a checklist to remember, oh, I want to publish this here, 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 and here, and did I forget any, and all that kind of fun stuff. So that is some of the things I'm working on. The locals, they have a new beta version of the UI, and I don't think I have it open. It actually looks a lot cooler, a little bit nicer, so hopefully when they switch to that, you can come check that out. But I've got all of the podcast episodes over here in locals. I've got updates that I don't post out on social media here in my insiders community. I'll post all my things that I do post, like my shoulder video, my creative stuff, all that you can find from my YouTube and my Rumble channel and X and all that kind of stuff. I'll post in here, but I also post extra stuff in here that I don't post anywhere else. So if you want the real inside scoop of what's going on in my life and my creative process and all this kind of fun stuff, my locals insiders community, that's where it's going to be. So that is kind of the background on all the creative stuff. And alrighty, I think that is going to do it for today's show. Like I said, it's going to start maybe being a little bit shorter, and maybe I'll have more things to talk about, and maybe it'll be more news react, maybe it'll be other stuff. Tomorrow's, or the next time I do an episode, whether it's tomorrow or Monday, I don't know, I'll talk more about TV shows and movies. It's been a long time since I've done that, since November, so I've got a lot of movies to talk about and give you ratings on, and I'll talk about all the TV shows I've been watching lately. And those are some of the things that'll be coming up on other shows. And I'm just checking one more thing here on my list. So, talked about the news. We talked about that. Talked about all the fun stuff. I'm going to give one more plug for my Insiders community. Go check it out. I think it's pretty cool. I'd literally like to build a community, just interact with people. I think that's pretty cool. So come check that out. Go check out my book. Hit me up on socials with your questions, your feedback, your email. I do get feedback occasionally from people, and I like it. I like interacting with people. I like doing this creative stuff for fun. It is one of the things that I really enjoy doing. And so if you like it, let me know, and we'll just kind of take it from there and have a good time. So that's going to do it for today's episode, and we will catch you guys next time.